What's up everyone, it's Trainer Dell, and this video I have for you my Feather the Redeemed EDH deck. Honestly, I thought I had this video recorded before, but I then realized that two commander decks that I shot footage for, just the footage got lost, so I just put this deck, I've had it for a while, I put it together a while ago, right before Ikoria came out, honestly. I've updated a little bit since then. But yeah, so I've had this deck for a while, and I love the Boros Legion. The colors are cool. The deck box I use for it is the Ultra Pro Boros. So I think that's really cool. I like the flavor with it. So yeah, Feather the Redeemed, basically red and 2 white for a Flying Angel that basically it's battle tricks or whatever, combat tricks deck. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves, and if you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So all those draft chaffs of like red and white and stuff, any like cantrips and stuff just works so well in this deck. And I built it pretty budget in its time. There's been a few upgrades to help it out, but I mean, a lot of these were just like cards lying around, honestly. So yeah, that's Feather. She's awesome. She's the commander of this deck. So yeah, let's go right into it. Got Walking Ballista, and this is for the combo with Heliod. A Crow and Crusader, heroic. Whenever you cast a spell that targets it, it create a 1/1 red soldier token, so we can kind of go white a little bit, so that's pretty alright. Wayfarer's Bauble, to just try to get 2 whites and red, like just because her casting cost is so specific in the colors, we gotta get the colors. I'm doing this by CMC really, so that's where I'll go through. So these are all the Walking Ballistas, technically 0 because of the XX. These are the ones. Land tax, like I said, you got to grab the lands up, and Boros isn't known for ramping well, so got to get my lands. Path to Exile, you can even use these on like the red soldiers or whatnot or anything, and get it back to your hand, and that's like a fancy way of ramping in a way, with feathers on the field. Swords to Plowshare. It's alright. It's just there. Just like quick little removal. Defiant Strike for the draw the card. That's mostly what it's for, but gives it a low +1/+0. This one gives you protection of a color of your choice, but helps you scry. This one makes it indestructible. Makes scry Sheltering Light. God's Willing was the last one in Defiant Strike. I should say the names. Renegade Tactics. Target creature can't block. That's fine. You're swinging in with like Feather or whoever, and get to the cantrip to draw a card. Expedite gives the creature haste, you draw a card. Samlet Sprint gives a creature +2/+1 haste, and you get to scry 1. This does a lot. This is one of my favorite ones. Titan Strength 3/1 and scry 1. Rush of Adrenaline, target creature gets +2/+1 and gains trample. That's the best part of it, the trample, as well as the power-up. Infuriate, +3/+2. Just 1 red to do that. It's makes Feather pretty beefy. Brute Force, kind of same thing, except it's a 3/3. Young Pyromancer to give the +1/+1 elementals, the more of these instant sorceries I do. Firebrand Archer, just to deal 1 damage to everybody. It's incidental damage, it can help out. 10th District Legionnaire, whenever you target it, it gets a +1/+1 counter, and you get to scry haste. Sometimes I get this thing really big, and it can just swing out and kill someone itself. So like Feather can go in, and then 10th District Legionnaire can do stuff. Arcane Signet, because we gotta get the colors. Boros Signet. Talisman of Conviction. Swiftfoot Boots I like here more than Lightning Greaves, because it's hexproof, not shroud. So that way you can target Feather with all the combat tricks. Shelter gives the target creature protection of a color, and then draw 1 card with 1 in a white now. Gilded Strike just gets +1/+0. First strike's pretty cool, but also the drawing the card is the best part. Long Road Home, not really the best thing, but it can protect Feather, and when it comes back, she can get a +1/+1 counter. Ephemeral Shields, Convoke, but you don't really need it. But target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Well, indestructible is really good because keeping Feather on board is awesome to get all your your combat tricks back. Disenchant, just because it's disenchant. Thrill of Possibility to draw, throw away some lands if you don't need them. Middle of the game, even sometimes early game, you might not have the right colors, so try to dive deep in your deck. Shenanigans, just to destroy artifacts. It has dredge, so there's so many times I'm drawing so much extra cards that sometimes I'll just grab this back from the graveyard. Fist of Flames, one of my other favorite combat trips. You draw a card, and then until end of turn, the target creature gains trample, and then +1 for each card you've drawn. So sometimes you can go through a bunch of combat trips and cantrips cantrips, and sometimes the Fist of Flame does so much damage. Stun, pretty cool. Same thing as the other card I can't remember, was Renegade Tactics, where target creature can't block, and then you draw cards. Sadly, it's 2 mana, but it's all good. Psychotic Fury, target multicolored creature gains double strike, and you get to draw cards, so Feather, multicolored. Yeah, I won a game using this with 10th District Legionnaire as well. Just, it helps so much power it up, and it get the double strike. Inordinate Rage is a new card from the Zendikar. Target creature gets +3/+2, and you get to scry 1. Brute Strength, 3/1, and Trample, which sometimes is just more important. Invigorated Rage, I like the 4/0 and the Trample, but the target 2, I think just that one works. Target 2 creatures, if it works, cool, but I mostly go for the 4/0 and Trample. Unleash Fury, another new card, double the power, target creature until end of turn. This thing's cool, especially if you power it up and then do Chandra's Fury or whatever that I have later on. Teamer Battle Rage, target creature gets double strike, but if it has 4 or more power, it also gets trample. So an easy way to get any of the combat tricks to help it out. Gains double strike. I like this art because it just makes me think of the Boros. Just like Boros Charm. Target creature gets double strike, that's cool, but sometimes you can hit them, in the dome, or even have all your permanents gain indestructible. And just like I said, keeping Feather around is probably the best thing to do. Deflecting Palm, this is just if someone's going to hit you hard when your Feather is like tapped down or something. It just helps deal the damage back to them. Gutter Snipe, probably the best one out of all of them. That whenever I cast an instant or sorcery spell, deal 2 damage to everybody. And then, yeah, getting him down early is super good. Heliod can also still work with Feather. You can get that lifelink and powering up Feather with +1/+1 counters, and it has the combo with Walking Ballista, Cluestone, Keyrune, and Locket just for more ramp and just to get my colors. Commander Sphere, same thing. Crystal Ball, you guys can change this out for, this is my budget Sensei's Dividing Top. I don't have it in this deck, I have it somewhere else. But still pretty good too, because sometimes you got to just scry things down to get what you need. Sunforger, for the longest time, I was not playing this card, and I regret it. This card is so good. Get any of the ones basically here, the instants, and yeah, just kind of play it from your deck. Slaughter the Strong, each player chooses any number of creatures he or she controls with a total power 4 or less, then sacrifices all others. So it's an alright board wipe, it's pretty low costing, and Feather's a 3, so helps out. Lapse of Certainty is White's like weird counter spell that where you counter any target spell and then it's put back into their library. Just a good way to counter something if we're going for game, and just little things. Survive the Night, target gets +1/+0 and indestructible, but one of the better things, the Investigate. Get that clue token to maybe draw cards if we have just mana up. It's a Fairy's Protection. best card in white. I mean, a white staple, I believe. Wear and Tear, just to help with artifacts and enchantments. Zada, Hedron Grinder, so you can still target any of the tricks to Zada, and it'll copy it for all the other creatures you control, but since it still targets it, Feather's effect still works, so yeah. Get everything back and hopefully draw a lot. Helm of the Host for the Aurelia combo, mostly. Smothering Tide, because it's Smothering Tide. Settle the Wreckage. I would take this out for the new Commander Legend card that's coming out, where everything's destroyed except for the commanders and whatnot. But I still like this too, because sometimes they're not expecting it. They're thinking I'm just trying to draw cards. They swing out at me, and they're going to lose all their creatures. You can also protect people too if you want. Make a little deal. Seize the Day. This one is so good. Just untap target creature after the phase. There's an additional combat phase, so Feather can sometimes one-shot people or two-shot people. Balefire Liege, 2 and the hybrid mana for Boros. Other red creatures get +1/+1. Other white creatures get +1/+1. Whenever you cast a red spell, you can deal 3 damage to somebody, and whenever you play a white spell, you gain 3 life. So getting this down and having Feather, recurse so many spells, you're either damage people or get yourself out of reach for dying. Mirrorwing Dragon, kind of the same thing as Zada, where if I cast an instant or sorcery that targets this, then I can copy it for each other creature. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And I'll still get it all back. Tragic Arrogance, basically to control the board and keep my Feather on the field and stuff. Chandra's Ignition. Like I said, I like powering up Feather and then using this. It is high costing, so it's not the best battle trick early in the game. But later on, when you just have so much mana from all that drawing and stuff, you hope that doing this can just take some people out and some boards. Then Aurelia for the Wombo combo with the Helm of the Host. Got Command Tower, Needle Verge Pathway, Temple Triumph, Clifftop Retreat, Boros Garrison, Boros Guildgate. You can also switch these out for any of the good lands that come in, like what is it? The shock lands and the fast lands, stuff like that, check lands. This one was, like I said, started off as a very budget deck, so I didn't really go into lands as much. But fixing the land base, I think, would be something I'd want to do if I kept upgrading this deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 planes. I think 12 mountains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mountains. Yeah. So I take out like 4 and 4 and put in 8 of the good dual lands and stuff if I could. Rattling Quarry Tower, Sun Home, Fortress of the Legion, Double Strike, and then Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse to get the colors I need, because you need Feather to come out. You don't need to bring Feather out as soon as possible. Like, you don't need her to come out turn 3. I think it's better to bring out turn 4 or 5 after a little setup. And also, so when she comes down, you can, if they try to kill her or attack her or whatever, like try to get her off the field, you can hopefully have a response with anything that makes her indestructible or gives her protection. And it'd be better with a cantrip and whatnot. So I don't, like, when I play her, I don't have to bring her out turn 3, and I hope you guys don't do it either. But if you do, cool, play your way. Just saying the way that I see fit when I play her. So anyways, yeah, that's my Feather the Redeem deck. Thanks for watching. Peace.